In 2006, Microsoft lost the iPod war the moment it ended a 5-year wait and launched a better music player. The Zune had Wi-Fi, a bigger screen, and a music subscription before Spotify mattered. 5 years later, Microsoft stopped making it. The details get stranger. Zune's headline feature only became useful when another person nearby had also bought one. A song sent over Wi-Fi expired after 3 plays or 3 days. And on the final morning of 2008, original Zunes across the world froze at the same time because one clock routine couldn't understand the calendar. The easy explanation is that Zune was brown, late, and advertised badly. All true. None of it reaches the real mistake. Microsoft thought it was fighting one rectangular device. What it was actually fighting grew stronger every time Apple sold another iPod. Apple launched the first iPod in October 2001. The pitch wasn't a list of specifications. It was a complete trip from a CD to a computer to your pocket. Then the iTunes Store added purchased music, and every song someone bought made leaving a little more annoying. Microsoft was already inside this market. Its Windows Media technology powered a collection of music stores and players under a certification called Plays for Sure. Buy a compatible song, and the promise was that it would play across compatible devices from companies like Creative, Samsung, and iRiver. That approach looked like classic Microsoft: provide the platform and let hardware partners compete. It also failed to slow the iPod, so the Xbox team won permission to try Apple's model instead. Microsoft would control the player, desktop software, music store, subscription, and brand. There was just one problem. To build that clean new system, Microsoft walked away from the old one. The first Zune arrived in November 2006 for $249. Toshiba manufactured the hardware around a design related to its gigabit player. It held 30 gigabytes, matched the iPod on storage, and used a 3-inch screen that was larger than Apple's. It had an FM radio. The interface was fast, unusually clean, and built around large typography years before Microsoft spread that design language across phones and Windows. And it had Wi-Fi. In 2006, the market-leading iPod did not. On paper, this was exactly how a challenger should look. Match the basics, then add something the incumbent cannot do. But connect a Zune to Microsoft's new desktop software, and a bizarre boundary appeared. Music protected by Microsoft's own Plays for Sure system would not transfer. Customers who had trusted the words Plays for Sure discovered that Microsoft's newest player was the exception. The reason was architectural. Zune needed a new rights management system to support subscriptions, an integrated marketplace, and controlled device-to-device sharing. Reusing the old platform would have limited what the team could build. Starting over gave Microsoft control, but it also destroyed the easiest migration path for the Windows Music customers most likely to consider an alternative to Apple. Microsoft had copied Apple's walled garden. It had simply built the wall around an empty lot. The Zune campaign called its idea the social. Put 2 Zunes near each other, choose a song, and send the full track over Wi-Fi. The receiving owner could hear it 3 times within 3 days. After that, the song remained listed but would not play unless they bought it. That sounds limited now, but the feature was genuinely ambitious. Apple would not add direct wireless sharing to the iPod line. Microsoft had turned music discovery into something physical. Hear a song, pass it to the person beside you, and create a sale for the store. Except the feature had a hidden prerequisite. You needed to meet another Zune owner. Think about the math. If 1 in 20 music player owners around you uses the same new device, the chance that 2 randomly paired owners can use a same device social feature isn't 5%. It is roughly 1/4 of 1%. 5% multiplied by 5%. That is only an illustration, not Zune's measured encounter rate, but it shows the bootstrap problem. The feature that was supposed to create adoption required adoption before it created value. The iPod's network worked differently. Your friends did not need an iPod for your purchased music, playlists, dock, car adapter, and computer library to remain useful. Those assets kept paying you back alone. Zune's signature advantage waited for a second customer to walk into the room. And then its biggest shared moment arrived for exactly the wrong reason. On December 31, 2008, original 30-gigabyte Zunes began freezing during startup. The progress bar would move, stop, and leave the device unusable. Owners compared notes online and realized the failures were happening everywhere. The culprit sat inside a clock driver supplied for the player's hardware. A routine counted days through a 4-year cycle, but on the 366th day of a leap year, it could enter a loop without reducing the remaining day count. The Zune was not broken by a network outage or an expired certificate. It was stuck trying to decide what day it was. Microsoft's official solution was wonderfully direct. Wait. Once the calendar rolled to January 1st, the calculation worked again and the players recovered. The bug did not kill Zune, but it gave the product the kind of cultural moment its sharing system never managed. Millions of people heard about Zune at once because every original unit had stopped playing. If you want more failures hiding inside good products, subscribe. By then, the commercial numbers were already moving in the same direction. Microsoft reached its first million Zunes in about 10 months and later reported 2 million sold. Apple had already sold well over 100 million iPods. Zune was not facing an open category anymore. It was trying to extract people from a mature system while smartphones were beginning to erase the category underneath both companies. Then the holiday quarter of 2008 landed. In Microsoft's own filing, Zune platform revenue fell by $100 million from the previous year, a drop of 54%. The division was shipping newer hardware, including a genuinely excellent Zune HD, but better versions could not repair the missing reason to switch. Microsoft stopped introducing Zune players in 2011. The brand's music service was folded into Xbox Music, then renamed Groove. Remaining Zune services shut down in November 2015. The hardware lasted 5 years. The strategic mistake had been present on day one. So what actually killed Zune? Being late matters, but late is not a diagnosis. Zune failed because Microsoft treated the iPod as a device when the thing customers owned was an ecosystem. An iPod owner had a library organized in iTunes, songs purchased under Apple's rules, cables and docks that fit, speakers built around the connector, and habits learned over years. None of those appeared on an iPod specification sheet. Together, they made the next iPod easier to buy than the first one. Microsoft's answer focused on the visible node. Build nicer hardware. Add Wi-Fi. Offer a subscription. Those were good decisions inside the product, but the company made the one move a late entrant could least afford. It broke compatibility with its own existing music network and demanded that customers restart inside another closed system. That is why the wireless feature matters so much. Zune-to-Zune sharing did not bridge into the market Apple controlled. It made a tiny parallel network whose value rose only when more people joined it. Every iPod Apple sold strengthened Apple's position. Every non-Zune sold made Microsoft's most distinctive feature less useful. The lesson is not never enter late. Late products win all the time. The question is whether your advantage works for the first customer before the network arrives. If it only becomes valuable after everyone switches together, you do not have a wedge. You have a coordination problem. Before copying a competitor's product, map everything around it that customers would have to abandon. Then ask the uncomfortable question, if nobody else adopts this on launch day, is it still worth buying? Zune did not lose because the hardware was worse. It lost because the network was already built somewhere else. And Microsoft repeated the same mistake on a much more expensive screen. Windows Phone was beautiful, late, and trapped outside the app ecosystem. Microsoft eventually wrote off $7.6 billion trying to force its way in. That story is on screen now.